Andrew Younghusband, he hosts, he produces, he directs, he edits, he does everything. He's also the worst driver, I think, but he's Canada's worst driver host. And the final episode airs just in about a week and a bit from now.
Yeah, a week and a bit.
That's crazy, on December 15th. How are you doing your second time on the program?
I'm doing wicked, yeah. I'm all good to go. I'm unemployed. It's great. We just wrapped the creative like a couple of days ago, and it's the first time I've had like more than a day off in a row in like forever. So I'm kind of really excited and wound up.
You deserve that.
I'm always wound up, though. Hey, look at that.
You deserve.
Why, thank you.
You need some time away, friend.
Thank you. I do.
You work too hard. You need to breathe.
I do.
You need to let the eyes get unread a bit and just...
But what am I going to do to breathe? I'm going to go to Newfoundland in a couple of weeks, and the eyes are going to get very, very red.
Your hometown, of course, being Newfoundland. So tell me, is this the last Canada's Worst Driver ever?
Every damn year I think it's the last worst driver ever. No, the ratings are huge again. And the network just recently asked for another one. This is our 10th year. 10, all right? I got the gig. I think it's a one-off, right? How many worst drivers can there be? I know English. There can only be one worst. And then we do 10. 10. And yeah, the network has asked for it again, so I think we're going to do it again.
What do you think makes this show so compelling? Like, people keep going back. It's just because it's like the wow factor? Like, are the people are that shit at driving a vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, that's at the heart of it. I think it's like a wacky character study. The people that come on the show are all, shall we say, unique in general. They're all kind of oddballs. And the fact that every single person in the world, whether you drive or not, has something at stake with driving. If you're crossing the road and there's a bad driver, you can get snuffed out. So we've all got something at stake. And I think that like people who are passengers have an opinion about drivers. Kids have opinions about drivers. Other drivers have opinions about drivers. And it's a good old let's all get together and hate the government kind of show. Who gave these people their license?
Interesting. I love that perspective. You watch a game show like Survivor, and I call them game shows because they're all essentially
they're game shows, absolutely.
And whoever makes it off that island is not going to affect me at all, except for the fact that I'm going to have to fucking see it during an entertainment report.
No,
but
these people live with you.
I get it. These are people in your communities. These are people who are driving while you're taking your grandmother to go shopping, and your grandmother's slow crossing the road. You don't want to get hit by these people, and that potentially could happen.
We had a guy on the show this year who's a cab driver in Kingston, and one of the reasons why we let him leave the show and quote-unquote graduate was because he said, I'm done with that. I'm going to journalism school. I will never drive a cab again. Well, hello, Facebook world, right? Everybody knows everything's going on. People call me every day on Facebook to say, I live in Kingston. That guy's driving a cab again. He's out there.
No way.
Yes, man. They rat him out.
They rat him out.
They rat him out, yeah. He's back driving a cab in Kingston. He had 6 major crashes last year.
Sick. That's
scary. How do you get a cab driver's license? Hey, how?
Oh, you buy it.
You buy that.
You buy it off of someone who has the license.
Yes.
Exactly.
Should a professional driver have some form of extra something?
You would think. I mean, we're not letting our school bus drivers do that, are we?
Jeez, I don't. Yeah, no. Well, that's an upscale thing. No, I don't think so. God Almighty, don't ask me that.
No, when it comes to
I don't
truck
want to have
drivers and
Canada's worst school bus driver show. That would end really, really badly. You can't. Here's this for a school bus.
Can you imagine that show?
This would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
So there's a lot of crying in that show.
Jimmy, sit down. Sit down, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy, stop flying around the bus.
Why are there no seatbelts on school buses? These are the questions I don't know. You, as a regular old driver, you can buy a school bus. You can take out all of the seats except for 8, and you can drive it legally. Absolutely no problem on the road.
Really?
Really.
Oh, that's a fan. Maybe we should do the Todd Shapiro Show road show.
You should, yeah. And you can, paint out the S and just have the cool bus and drive around.
So you don't need a license?
No, you're a regular Class 1 license.
I can drive a bus.
Get in and go as long as it's got less than 8 seats. And you don't even, because it's grandfathered in, you don't even got to put seatbelts in it.
How much is a bus?
No, cheap as dirt. Cheap as dirt because nobody wants them. Once they get old, nobody wants them.
You need a driver's license, Anna. You have to have a driver's license.
You do?
Yeah.
You're a girl. You can get them easy. 3 of the women on the show this year said I should never have got my license, but I cried and Buddy just gave it to me.
Yeah,
Three. There was only 4 women on the show this year. 3 of them said I absolutely failed my test, but the male adjudicator gave me my license.
We're here with Andrew Younghusband, the host of Canada's Worst Driver. Now, does the government, have they ever intervened and called you up and say, stop exposing us because this looks terrible on our entire Ministry of Transportation?
No, and truth be told, Discovery has this thing that they don't want to do political stories. They don't do politics.
Yep.
Yet we get on there and we stir shit up, right? And we talk about this stuff, and it's really interesting, to me at least. The flip side has happened only in Alberta, and by the flip side I mean when we start the show, we always go out with these people for what we call their bio shoots, and we drive around their hometown with them. We see them go to work and how they run errands and how they behave normally. And they're chatting on the phone, and they got their foot out the window, and they're not noticing red lights. In Alberta, they saw every single problem, what do you call it, like a moving violation that those drivers did on their bio shoots. Then they went backwards. They couldn't ticket them on it, but they gave them the demerit points, pulled their license, made them retest.
Finally.
Yeah. And so we were a bit spooked. It's like, if they start taking everybody's license, nobody's going to
want to show. There's no
more
driver anymore.
Yeah. Nobody's going to say, like, I want the education, but I'm not driving around with you guys showing me up. And because, if the government comes knocking on my door. The show's been done in multiple countries, too. And in one of the Scandinavian countries, people got ticketed. People, after the show was over.
For what they did wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love it. So that's
yeah. We barely drive in public, right? We barely drive. Everything's really on a closed course set. At the end, I always drive with them, and that's the show that's coming up in a week and a half. 2 Mondays from now, I get in the passenger seat, and we enter the highway, and I kind of, my shrimp, wink, I have a little bit of tightening.
Well, this is one of the things we delved into last time you were on the program a few months ago, is how do you have the courage to do this? So has there ever been a time, and maybe was it this year, that you said, this is a great show, and yeah, I earn a decent amount of cash for it and get great exposure and, hopefully get some pussy once in a while because of it, but I don't know if I actually want to do this final drive. Like, does it take some courage out of you?
I've always just bellied up to the bar and done it. And the one time where I really got spooked, we got a convertible, I think it was a 67 Mustang. And I was like, well, fuck yeah, I'm a cool Mustang. Look at that. It was so old it had no shoulder belt. It only had a lap belt.
Oh, my God.
And so I got in
Is
there.
That also grandfathered in? Like, would that be considered legal if it came from a car like that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. If you've got an old car that is so old it didn't have a shoulder belt, the lap belt is perfectly legal and fine.
Oh.
So I take the passenger seat in that and automatically reach over my shoulder, and it's not there. There is where, and all I can think, we're going to go on the highway. We're going to merge onto the 403 on this thing. And if we fetch up fast, I'm going to lose all of my teeth in this luxury, in this historic automobile's dashboard. And that one spooked me more than anything else. Now, that said, I just put on the brave face and went in and did it. Yeah, I'm dumb enough to do a lot of things, right?
Really dumb. I mean, that's really going after your craft, though. That's you're just fixing the mic there a little bit. That's cool. Here's Andrew. You're back. We got you. I mean, it was good. Thanks, Jay. But Andrew, that is crazy to me. And then another year. See, this is the thing in my life. The older I've become, the less risk averse I am. So I mean, I guess the more risk averse I am.
You probably have something to live for.
Well, no. I'm married. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly. I got nothing.
I just
wing
ask
it.
the question. I love it. I fucking love it. You're just like
I just think, will this check bounce? And then when I go, I bet it won't. I'll get in the car.
Hey, one of the most heinous crimes in this world are drinking and driving. It's disgusting. Have there ever been any of your participants or in this show, Canada's Worst Driver, that have come up and actually had the audacity to have a few pops before they get in it?
Amazingly, yes. Not with me, but yeah. And you associate that with somebody that came of age in the 60s, that drinking and driving was a socially acceptable thing. And then times changed. But we had a woman this year on the show from Port Colborne, Ontario, Mariah. God love her. I love Mariah. Mariah's 22 years old and openly, happily bragged about drinking and driving on a regular basis. Her birthday, she said, 12 drinks plus a bottle of wine, drove home from the club, no problem. Well, bit of a problem. She was weaving so much on the road that was freshly painted, she sprayed yellow paint all over her car that's still there permanently to this day. And I started tearing strips off her on day one. It's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, there's people watching this show have friends and loved ones, me included, who've been killed by drunk drivers. And you can't do it, and B, you can't laugh about it. And she was very defiant. It's my life. I say YOLO, and I do whatever the fuck I want.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah, man. She came aboard me, right? And it was like, all right. And we talked about that every day until I broke her down. And at the end of the show, she just graduated in the last episode, in episode 6. I broke her down so much that she, started understanding, not just break her down, but like, you got to wrap your head around this, what a serious issue this is. You're going to kill yourself. Worse, you're going to kill someone else. Or worse, you're going to kill yourself. But you're going to kill someone else. And she finally came around, and people started talking to her about it, and more people. And when she shared her story, and she kind of got the appalled reaction from everybody, she started to figure it out. And she's one of these covered in tattoo girls, and we got her tattoo artist to come, and she willingly designed a "I will never drink and drive" tattoo again. And
I thought you were talking about making her not a Drake fan anymore. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I just assume everybody will grow out of that nonsense.
The YOLO part, I was like, well, I'm giving. No, I know. That's you know what. Honestly, and a big round of applause for that.
Yes, yes.
That I'm telling
Good
you.
for Mariah. She quit drinking and driving. You should too.
Every single person should. And this time of year, you know what I love about this time of year is all the ride programs out. And I don't know if are the problem. No, I love it because it holds people accountable.
Absolutely.
And I almost wish that it's as awkward and as peculiar as this is going to sound. It's like if you're ever going to drink and drive, do it this time of year because it means you're always going to do it. And at least you'll get caught this time of year. And that's what I love about it.
The reason why I was laughing is because I was thinking about Jason from Sudbury, who's also on the show this year. 5 times pulled over for drunk driving, 5 times stone cold sober. He's just that shitty at driving. They thought he was loaded. He was weaving. People called about this guy weaving. He got pulled over once on his bicycle because a cop thought he was drunk, blew 0.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, do you know much about Andrew Younghusband, of course? Do you know much about these electric bikes they have now?
Yeah.
Where they have like pedals, but you can actually drive. And everyone who I know has an electric bike that actually has a pedal, they're like, the best part about it is I can have a couple pops and I can get home still. And they're kind of drinking and driving. I don't really understand it.
They are drinking and driving, and they are not, as I understand it, breaking the law. Now, let's say they hit you and hurt you. You could sue them on a criminal charge for operating a vehicle,
Impaired or whatever.
Yeah, but technically, my understanding, and I am no lawyer, but my understanding is, you can have a couple of pops and go on these things. Whenever I see them, because they're on license, and I see some older dude on one, I go like, that's a guy who's been convicted of drinking and driving.
You stay away from that guy anyway.
He's lost his driver's license. You don't need a license to get this stupid little e-bike. That guy's been popped for drinking and driving because look at him. He's not the kind of personality that would get on this little silent like bike like that.
No, he just needs it to get to work.
He just needs it to get to the bar.
Exactly.
Yeah, or to get to the bar.
Same place.
To work. Same place, exactly. Going to work, honey.
Exactly. No, so in the if there's a guy, you're right. This is groundbreaking right now. If there is a guy you notice, especially now during the winter months and the winter
riding
holidays,
one of them.
he's got like boogers frozen in his mustache. That guy's been busted for drinking and driving.
Guaranteed. He's grumbling about that. They pulled his license. You don't need a license for one of those little things.
Avoid him, but if he does hit you, can sue the fucking bastard. I
That's
think. Brody.
correct.
I gotta ask you, Andrew.
Yes.
Okay? You get into any collisions? Have you had any major
your
collision?
own?
Like
Me, my own?
Yeah, personally.
Me as a human being?
Yeah, just
So when I got the show, I was a crappy driver, not an average driver. Our line was, I'm an average driver. I did not learn to drive till I was 27. Didn't really care about driving, lived all over the country, never drove. So when I was about 28, I got my all of these people who are on the show have these wacky stories about stupid things they did. I can beat it all. I got my driver's license in Vancouver, and 3 days after getting it, I had a gig in Newfoundland that I was going home to. I drove across the country. I was fine on the highway, but you put me in a Tim Hortons parking lot, man, I was hell on wheels. I didn't know how to drive a lick, right? I'd never driven before. So I made it all the way to Newfoundland. That's fine. Then I had a gig in Toronto, came back there, and then that October, I was driving home, and I'd moved a million times, and the truck was laden down, as heavy as all get out, speeding, doing about 135, 140 at night, about first week in November, came up over a hill, hit black ice, went sideways, and yard sale. Everything went every single direction. I still remember, too, the truck kind of skipping, ba-doom, 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 and me overcorrecting and overcorrecting again while shit is just spraying everywhere. And then the guardrails coming, and I was kind of like the truck kind of was about to do a roll, and it was in the air coming, and I was coming down at it. And I just remember thinking the words, here we go, and I hit and I sailed the log. I saw that the guardrail the next day. It was crushed down, not out, because I kind of hit it like going down like this. And I basically surfed along that for a bit, and there I was, done, and stopped, and then kind of was like, oh, well, that's done. And I got out and was, like in complete and utter shock, and people started coming from every which direction. And a cop, a sweetheart of a cop, actually kind of put all my crap back together. The wheel ripped off, like the wheel with the axle and everything in it ripped off. The machine went off into the woods. And and then I just went to a motel and kind of like sat there. It was the same night that Charles Barkley spent his leg sideways because there goes Charles Barkley's career. There goes my Ford Ranger's
Were
career.
you unscathed after this?
Completely unscathed.
So that's why you got that job, because you're the fucking Terminator. This guy's the Terminator.
It's my one. I've never had a fender bender, anything aside from that. There was just one massive. And so when people say to me, "Well, it wasn't my fault. It was black ice," I was like, "Yeah, that's your fault. You're a moron."
Because you got to know there's black ice.
It was my fault. That accident was my fault.
Good for you to know that. But, black ice is weird because I've been very fortunate. I don't want to talk about this stuff because you never want to jinx anything. But there was one year I was like 17, and that's when you could get licenses really easily because we're old guys. Andrew,
Yeah.
And you could literally, you walked in there, you did driving test, you parallel parked, they're like, okay, you get your license. It was pretty cool. So I got my license, and then I remember I was like fooling around with this girl. It was like in high school, and I was like, I remember just doing things, and I was so excited. I got in the car and like sped off. I just had a great time at her house, and as I sped off, there was black ice on the road, and I didn't even realize. And my mom had a Jeep at the time, a Jeep Wagoneer, and I was spinning, and I had no idea what to do, and I wasn't going that fast, and I don't know how, but I didn't hit a thing. I didn't hit a thing, and I thought to myself, imagine that like my first few weeks of driving, that could have changed my perspective on how to drive for the rest of time. If I smashed the car or whatever, it was my mom's car, it would have been terrible. So it really is one of those things that it's tricky, and come winter months, people drive terribly. But at least people drive cautiously. I actually don't mind, and I'm an aggressive driver, Andrew, but I don't mind, and I don't mind saying this to people, when there's snow on the ground or if you think there might be ice, it's okay if there's traffic, and it's okay if you're not in a rush. Nope, just don't be in a rush in those situations.
No.
Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. And the amount of people out there that are driving around without the proper tires on in the winter, they just go, my summer tires are good enough, I barely drive at all or whatever. It only takes that one little piece of black ice to make you go sideways in a turn. And then you're screwed. And one of the things that I've learned doing the show, like I've learned all of these driving skills during the show, is that like when you go into a skid on black ice, almost everybody just keeps the brake locked. They just like put it through the floor.
Which keeps it going spinning.
Which keeps it going spinning and keeps you, whatever direction you're headed, that's where you're headed. Which is probably why you didn't hit anything. Probably you hit the brake, and because your trajectory was going straight on the road at that moment, you just do that slow motion.
Well, I just got
spin.
lucky, to be honest.
You get lucky,
you get lucky.
You get lucky, yeah.
Do you think that it should be mandatory like it is in other provinces for us to have winter tires?
I think so. When I grew up in Newfoundland, you had to have studded tires. Like it was mandatory.
What's that? Where it's like a tire would go bang out another tire? Like I'm a big stud.
Like,
I'm a stud tire.
The Michelin man would say, "I'm a stud, man. Line them up." No, there's actually like metal studs in the tires, and they were mandatory in the winter, and they chew the hell out of the road, and so the province doesn't like them. Yet it saves lives. So what's more important?
And it's fashionable.
And it's fashionable.
Yeah,
Studs,
it's like the Prince Albert of tires.
Exactly.
Interesting. So I didn't realize that. I mean, I actually think, I really do believe that everyone should have winter tires.
A guy stopped me at a store here on Queen Street one day about, I don't know, a year ago or something. He said, "You're that guy. You're that host of that show." He goes, "I'm from," and I can't remember what country, a Scandinavian country. And he showed me his driver's license. He said it cost him in the equivalent of $5,000 or $6,000 in Canadian money. And he could drive at night. He could drive at winter. He could drive at this. He could drive at that. And they're all separate tests in Sweden or wherever he was from. It was like you had to pass a winter driving ice test to be allowed to drive in sub-zero temperatures. You had to pass a nighttime driving. And they should have it here as well, but the bureaucracy will never allow for it because people will get voted out if they say you got to spend $5,000 on your license. It saves lives, but that's not what people are interested in.
I'd spend $10,000 a year to prove that I could have sex while driving. I would do that. Yeah,
there's a special license for that. Are you licensed for that, sir?
Have you ever done that?
Never while driving, Anna.
Really?
Only once when I was young. Yeah. Oh, Anna, meanwhile, how many cocks have you sat on? One of the driver's driver?
One.
Okay.
On a moving highway.
Really?
The Gardner Expressway, yeah.
No comment.
Have you ever had that on the program, Canada's Worst Driver? Someone actually fool around in the car?
No, but one kid described at great length, and he was a kid too, he was like 19, described it at great length how he got his girlfriend to straddle him while he was on the highway. And
it's very dangerous.
Yeah, his girlfriend's name is Anna Sizon. Yeah.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's amazing. And there's always that moment, I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's that moment when you're driving and something sexual is happening and you're like, we're all going to die, right? Like, is that, It's amazing. It would be
Roadhead's not that bad though. I guess that's considered.
My eyes roll in the back. I just close my eyes. It's the same thing. You ever drive and you're trying not to fall asleep, and your brain's dumb and it hates you, so it convinces you it's okay to close your eyes for that second.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, do you hear those experiences too about people talking about sleeping and driving? 'Cause that is very frightening.
Yeah, like we had this guy on the show, Michael, and Michael had done that very trick. He'd just fallen asleep at the wheel and had gone off like way deep into the woods. And yeah, I mean, it takes people out every year.
Wow, it is sad. But Jay, back to the head and driving.
I always
You always get sleepy after you get head. I always go on the nod after Roadhead. I don't know what that's about.
If I only had a sandwich in the glove box, I'd be okay.
I do have a sandwich. That just makes me more sleepy after, though. I just had the sandwich.
I shouldn't have picked the turkey.
And how's your personal life going, Andrew Younghusband? How's everything going? Are you married now? Are you dating? Like, people want to know about this host of a show for years and years and years.
You better give me some of that wine if you
Do you
want
want some
these
wine?
foolish questions. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Can we put some of this wine? I don't know how we do that. I know it's Roddy's birthday. I don't want him to go do it. We need cups. We got to put wine in. We can't drink. We got to put them in water bottles. Is what we have to do. Everyone's got to finish their water bottle, and then we have to have a screw lid for wine.
What will
But I
Mom
think we need
come?
to drink wine. It's Roddy's birthday. Yeah, I just want to know, how's life going with you? You know, big time TV show host, and you do so much more than just host the program. You're busy a lot.
Yeah, life's sweet. You know, I'm having a good time. I'm going to have a couple of months off now. I'm going to go traveling for a bit. I'm going to go to Argentina and Nepal in the new year.
Nice.
So, yeah, nice.
Because it's their summer over there, isn't it?
Yeah,
in Argentina?
yeah. And so, life is sweet. I'm reaping the creamy rewards.
Wait a
No
second.
pun intended.
Roddy, you can't just.
You're like some YouTube video over there. He's got a bottle of wine in a boot and he's whacking it against the wall. I saw it on
I
YouTube.
saw this trick on YouTube. I actually did.
And
I
what
want to
happens?
see this.
The cork comes out.
Or you break the
I-
broadcast
I-
window. One or the other.
I don't think we
One
should
or
be
the
doing like
other.
that. It's fun to do in someone's friend's basement, not
Yeah.
at SiriusXM Studios.
Drink the pea wine.
Try it on the floor.
Someone's got to have a bottle opener. No, this is how unprofessional we are. You're
Back when I
sorry.
used to be a real man, I carried a pocket knife with me, and those days have gone.
Can we not just like push it in, or no? That never
Yeah, you
works
can.
out.
It's like it's not.
No, that pops up
aesthetically-
in your face. Don't do that.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, call us on the program here, Jay. What's the phone number?
1-844 TTS show. That's 1-844. That's 1-844. 887 7
New here, pal?
7 9
No,
No, he's just illiterate.
7469.
74 and then 69. Don't 69 while you're driving, you'll die. For sure you'll die.
That one's beyond. You can't get a license for that. Even in Scandinavia, you can't get a license for that.
If you have any tips on how to open a wine bottle without a corkscrew, we need them right
Please
now
call
for
us.
sure. So you're traveling to Argentina, and I know you also do the other show, which is finding out bad drivers from all across the world. I forget. I apologize. What-
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That show's gone into hiatus. We're not shooting that this
You're
winter.
not,
I know,
okay.
which just breaks my heart.
What was it called again?
It was called Don't Drive Here.
And that one, like you,
the most fun I've ever had at work, because I got to be the goofy driver and go to all these cultures where you shouldn't drive anything, and I got to drive everything, which was, like, honest to God, the most fun I've ever had at work. You know, when are you going to go to work and then somebody's going to say, today we're going to put 1,600 eggs on a scooter, and then you're going to drive through the clogged streets of Vietnam with some other guy that does that every day.
Yeah, you're telling us tales
like
last time. It really is
the most
bizarre.
fun, yeah.
Anna, do you drive?
I did once upon a time, and I no longer have a license for reasons that I will not discuss on the
Oh,
Okay,
come
an accident.
on.
She got in an accident.
What happened?
She got in a bad
Well,
accident.
I am probably Canada's worst driver, if not the world's. I've had a bunch of I've crashed into a cab. I had a careless driving charge, which actually got thrown out of the courts because the cop didn't show up.
Yeah,
and
they
I
don't.
just numerous amounts of speeding tickets, and just
You're a
I'm
train
very-
wreck. You're a car wreck.
I went through a period of my life where I was going through some personal stuff, some breakups, and I was raging.
The
and then
period's
it
still
just,
going on, by the way.
And
I
you
had
took
red
that out
hair.
as speed?
Yeah, and I
Going
was
through some
just-
personal stuff and fucking medians as well.
I was always an aggressive driver, and it drives me crazy when people they don't have that instinct to just go. You know, when you you got to trust your gut and like make that turn or speed through that light that's about to go red. So I was always that guy, and then I pushed it to the limits, and I lost.
It's
my
weird.
license.
Like, so when I was doing the Don't Drive Here show, like, frankly, between you and me, if you drive really responsibly and smartly, that ain't really high quality TV. You're better off putting yourself in harm's way. And so I ride a bicycle in the city, And I'm constantly on Don't Drive Here trying to fit through every gap I could and take the most difficult turn I can and maybe ride in the center lane or find people that say do that and then do a lot of that. And I would find myself back in Toronto going like, oh man, I can beat this traffic easily and doing stuff and thinking like, this is perfect. And then realizing, no, this is life. This is not the TV show. This is probably not where I should be on my bicycle while other people are taking pictures of me out there moving car windows going, are you the worst driver guy? And I'm like,
You're the best bike driver, but a little dangerous, man.
Exactly, yeah. I built a pizza oven at the cottage this year and I had like one of those big pizza paddle things, you know what I mean, on a bike, and it was like acting like a sail, and I'm like riding one-handed while some guy was out there like going like, should you really be doing that?
Or getting extra speed?
Aren't you the worst driver guy? Like, and you're driving around like a loon?
Fucking hilarious, man.
Andrew,
yeah.
What school of driving are you? Are you like do you think aggressive driving is the best or defensive driving?
No, defensive. I am like the guy, if you like excitement in your life, if you get in my truck now, you're bored senseless, because behind a motorized vehicle, I am the most boring driver ever. I always by the rules, never go speeding. And since I've hosted the show, I've never gotten a speeding ticket, and the only time I got pulled over was when the license plate on my crappy little truck kind of blew up. And one of there's two reasons. One, I know all of the truths about how dangerous driving kills people, and that terrifies me. And the other thing is, I don't want to be pulled over and have people see the host of that show get pulled over. For sure.
I'm terrified.
I'm honestly terrified about that. So I'm Mr. Goody Two Shoes as a driver.
You know, I was going to say, sorry, Jay, following up. No, because I saw you had another question.
Do you do passive aggressive driving at all? I'm big into that.
How do you mean?
It's like, hey, lady, don't let me in this fucking lane. I literally have all day. And then you passively aggressive drive. Sure, go ahead. Cut me off. No problem here. You yell it out.
No, I can't say I do that. You know, I have a cassette deck in my truck, which I kind of love.
Cassette, really?
Yeah. I've had the same truck since forever. So I just changed the Black Sabbath tape and I'm happy again.
You chill out. You know,
the worst thing for me as a driver is packs of teenagers. If I pull over and I'm about to park and there's 10 guys there who are 15 years old, they go, it's the worst driver guy. Let's watch him parallel park. And they gather and they cheer and boo and hiss while I'm parking. And it's horrifying. It's like I feel like how the people on my show feel, because they're like, you know, under the gun and under everybody's watchful eye, and they're trying to get stuff done. And meanwhile, it's kind of scary having this rat pack watching you.
Andrew Younghusband, I have to interrupt you. We have a fan of the show. He's a regular drop-in guy. His name is Robert from TicketPartners.com. Robert lives in the area. He listens to our show religiously. He's a recurring guest, and he just popped in with a bottle opener for our wine. Robert. Is what he did. Robert, jump on the mic here, Robert. How are you, my friend?
I heard the distress call, so I was just picking up my weekend booze, and I was in my car, and I was like, I got to help these guys out. It's Friday, Rowdy's birthday. You got some wine here, and God forbid you don't have an opener.
You're the best, man. Yeah. You've got an opener in your car.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, I live right here.
I
live right here. So I went and got it. I felt so bad for you guys, and here you go. Now
what a gentleman you are.
Hit the applause button again.
What a kind-hearted soul. No, come back here, Robert. It's okay. He's just taking off. Robert from TicketPartners.com. My goodness. So you're listening to the program. You want to you're like can opener man. Like there's or like a bottle of wine opener man. Superhero. Like we can put up a signal in distress, and you come to people's aid.
Yeah, just put me out there. I'll serve anybody up. I got no problems with that whatsoever. I'm like Mr. LCBO.
You're a wine god.
Yeah, I'm not Superman, but I'm Corkscrew Man. Yeah, I like the screw too, though. I'm pretty sure everybody likes the screw.
Screw Man.
Yeah, Screw Man, on to the rescue. Here I am, Screw Man. Yeah, I'm going back to bed because I'm really sick.
Oh, are you? No. Okay, wash down that microphone. Wash down that mic. Okay, go feel better. No, I love that he's going out to get his booze, but I'm really sick.
All hot toddies.
Yeah, that's it exactly. So you might
feel better, buddy.
You might want to clean this mic now, eh?
Okay. Well, I mean, or maybe you originally got that from Anna's vagina.
Well, it was Anna's mic when I first started here on the other day. I told you the other day I was going to give her shit. But anyways, I don't take up your time. Nice meeting you. I love
nice
your
to meet
show.
you. Hey, thanks very much.
Thanks, Robert from TicketPartners.com. Go get if you need your tickets, and he's one of our best fun recurring characters. He's a real person. He's a fan favorite.
And they're trading tickets right now in front of me. There's tickets trading hands. What was that? Tickets from the Ticket Man.
What did you do to get those tickets? It's all coming together.
He insulted my vagina actually last time he was on the show, so I think he felt bad and he gave me a pair of tickets.
I think it's all coming together.
Really? I'll take tickets. He can insult my vagina.
Robert is a really nice guy.
He's a really nice guy.
It's for my dad, who's a uber super Leaf fan.
Oh, nice. Well, that's nice. She's hooking him up. Well, listen, Andrew Younghusband, I appreciate your time here on the program. Of course, Canada's Worst Driver goes on December 15th. It's the final episode of season 10. We'll find out who the worst driver of this season is. Good news, though, you are coming back for season 11. Is that safe to say?
Coming back for season 11, so yeah, no, it's a true fact.
Wow, we can't wait to watch more of you. And again, it's all on Discovery. And what is your Twitter handle?
I'm Andrew Younghusband. And then I ran out of letters. I thought I was going to put in my name, but my name too damn long for that thing.
Go find Andrew Younghusband.
That's it.
Ends on the B.
Ends on the B.
And you're an A guest. How cheesy was that?
God
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
a lot
Todd.
of fun.
Thanks.